What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite New Jersey boy here with New Jersey accent. Been reluctant to do a video. I've had some allergies going on and I didn't want to be on here sniffing and snotting. I've actually recorded a couple and deleted them because every few minutes I was giving it one of those. So I'm gonna try this one here and see if I can get through it without getting on your nerves too bad with it. But it's gonna tell a little gloomy story, kind of evil, scary story that happened when I was a kid. You'll have to excuse the raindrops, but before I tell that story, I want to tell y'all, we talked about Bigfoot briefly there in a video I had. Right over there is the first experience that I ever had with a Bigfoot when I was young. And this was a reoccurring event in my life. We used to come down here as a kid and build bonfires right over there. You can kind of see there's a pit over there, right there where that wash is. Of course, then you got a tree that's fell here recently. But we would build fires over here and set up late at night. And from that area over there was nothing. But about 2 o'clock in the morning, something would take these huge river slicks, now I'm talking big old river rocks, and would throw them into the river. And they were so big and heavy that you would actually hear them not only splash in the water, but hit the rocks on the bottom. You know, that's a different sound. I don't know if you can understand what I'm talking about, but you'd actually hear the two rocks hit together, which has to be a heavy rock to splash all the water away to hit the one on the bottom. So you would hear that noise, you know, all night long. Of course, then you'd get the smell of a dead dog crossed with a garbage truck. That's how I described it. And every now and then you'd hear what we called like a grunt. You know, we never did see anything. And this would happen. And we'd set out on Friday, Saturday nights sometimes. And this would happen periodically through the years. And, it happened as late as about 2 years ago. We had the rock thing. And then my buddy that actually lives here said he was going to work one morning and he come out to walk his dog down here before he left. And then he said he heard a tremendous scream, a guttural growl, scream. And he said he went back in the house. He took his dog and went back in the house. He said it was close. He said if it had been daylight, he felt like he could have seen whatever it was over there, how close it was. But now they're moving dirt over there. They're doing some kind of excavation. I think they're building a campground. So those days are going to be far behind us. They gone. Soon there'll be something over there. It's just on the other side of the trees. They're doing some building. If you go back that way, it's quite wooded, and there's quite a few mountainous ranges back that way. You know, something can go back that way and live, never be spotted. But you get down toward this way, then you kind of get toward the populated areas. But that was my first experience with anything that I didn't know what was as far as Bigfoot related went. And whatever it was pretty strong. Picked these big rocks up 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, there's nothing over there. Nobody had no reason to be over there. It's dark, nothing but snakes and ticks and who knows what else over there. But so that was the Bigfoot experience. The other story I want to tell is kind of I don't know if you call it a demonic possession story. I didn't witness it myself. I witnessed the aftermath of this. Me and my mother pulled up in the yard and there were adults out in the yard praying, kids crying, adults crying. Didn't know what was going on. Had an aunt of mine, she lived by herself and she was sick. The best I remember, I was a young kid. She had gotten sick. I think she had some kind of cancer, and then I think also she was fixing to lose a leg also with diabetes. And her brothers and sisters would come and stay with her, take turns. So one day they're all gathered in the house on the weekend to stay, you know, talking, deciding who's going to stay. And me and my mother's, we're on our way over there. And the way it was told was the brothers and sisters, they kind of start arguing about who's going to stay the night at the house, you know. Who's going to stay, who's not going to stay. So in the midst of this argument, they've got kids over there, so the kids in the hallway, they start fighting and arguing over, if I understand it right, it was over some toys or some candy or a bag of potato chips. But the sick aunt, she's in the back room in a hospital bed by herself. Now at the time, I'm not sure what her religious beliefs was, but in the midst of this house argument going on with everybody and all this stress, there is like a black mist or cloud or black shadow that actually makes its way through the front door. Now everybody sees this. This thing floats through the front door, comes in the house, and it's daytime, comes in the house. Everybody goes quiet. Comes in the house, goes down the hallway, over the kids' heads, and goes into the bedroom, where the bedroom's closed, the door's closed, where the lady is, the sick aunt. So everybody kind of looks at each other like, you know, did y'all see that? Of course, everybody thinks, you know, some people think, is this the angel of death? You know, is she dying? What's going on? People sitting around with their mouth open, was how I was told. And really, before anybody could do anything, the bedroom door opens up. And at this point, here comes my aunt, the sick lady, out of the bedroom. But she is not walking, she is floating in the air, about a foot off the ground. And her feet are all curled inward, and her hands are curled in toward her. Her neck is curled to one side, and her eyes are rolled back in her head, and she appears to be speaking in tongues. And this scares the bejesus out of everybody sitting there. Something has taken control of my aunt. Now she is, like I say, floating in midair, either talking backwards or speaking in tongues. And of course, this scares everybody to death. The kids run out of the hallway. Everybody runs out of the house except for a few of the men. Everybody is literally scared to death of what's taking place here. Nobody has ever seen anything like this, you know, happening right in front of them. So they figure this is the devil has took hold of this lady, you know. So she comes down the hallway to the end of the hallway like this, and they don't exactly know what she had said. They wish they, you know, would know what she said, but then it drops her. It just drops her to the ground. She falls. She hits her head. I mean, she violently falls. They don't see anything black leave the house, leave her body, but it just drops her right there on the floor. A month later, she dies. She don't remember anything that happened. She don't know how she got out in the middle of the living room floor. She doesn't know. They bring a preacher in and he talks to her, and she does. She gets right with the Lord. They told her what happened. Preacher has no explanation for it. Doctors have no explanation for it. Nobody can explain it. Of course, these mountain folk, they don't talk about it. They don't know where this thing come from, what happened, if it come from out of the ground, if it comes straight from hell, if it come out of the mountains. You know, it's just one of those things that mountain folk don't talk about. And we don't go around telling these stories. We don't tell each other this, or the outsiders. These people live way back in these mountains, Don't know if that has anything to do with what happened or not. You know, would this have happened if we lived in the middle of the city somewhere? Seems like you don't hear of it like that as much. Seems like there's some kind of old evil that actually lives in these hollers and mountains and caves that's ancient, that was here before even the Indians. Somehow they knew about it. So like I say, she gets right with the Lord. She dies about a month or so later. The house is sold. We never knew what it, as far as we know, nothing else ever happened in the house. We didn't know who bought the house, don't know the people. The house is gone now, but it was just one weird experience. And like I say, when we pulled up, we got there just right after this had happened. And like I say, there's, you know, people out in the yard praying and crying, and I see this as a kid, and I don't know what's took place, but it scared me. I know they wouldn't be out there acting this way over no reason at all. So I know that something has happened. So it scares me to death. But that's just one of the many weird things that's experienced here if you've lived here in these mountains for a long time. Seems like the longer your generation has lived here, the more you've experienced. And then if both sides of your family has been here for a long time, you know, the deeper your roots run, the bigger your antenna runs for this kind of stuff. It's really weird. But I wanted to clue you all in on this little story. We don't go around talking about stuff like this. I'm sure it happens to more people than me. People think you're crazy when you go around talking about stuff that happens or anything like this. They look at you like you're insane or you're lying or something other. And so it's best not to even mention stuff like this. But anyway, back to stuff at my house. I've tilled my garden, and I've been meaning to show y'all some things. I have come up with a lot of arrowheads every time I till my garden. I live on a little rise above the river where it doesn't never flood where I'm at, but it overlooks the river, and I just sometimes wonder if that isn't what's going on at my house, have something to do with that sometimes, because we have found quite a bit of arrowheads and what looks to be some makeshift little tools and just a piece or two of pottery, broken pottery. Really weird. You know, every time I till the garden, I can go out there after a rain and I can find this stuff, you know. But I'll show some of y'all some of that sometime next time I get back on here and let y'all see some of that stuff that I've got out in my garden. But anyhow, till the next time we get together, y'all, stay safe and stay well. And I will be back soon. See y'all.